Hey everybody, welcome to Fierce Fabulous Fridays from Girls Who Print. I am Deborah Korn, girl number one at Girls Who Print. Kelly Malazzi, girl number two, is manning the chat room. And today we have a really interesting guest. She's interesting because she always knows what's going on. She's part of a giant consumer research company. Lily Harder is the Senior Director of Marketing Strategy at Compare Media, which is part of Mintel. And we met through Brand United. Oh, no, we've met before that.
And before that, yeah.
Yeah, at some events. Lily is called upon a lot to help the print and marketers tie together consumer trends and how that could possibly manifest into print applications and things along that way. This presentation is a little more about how direct mail is being used during COVID and things like that, and some examples of campaigns that are out in the market and things that it's interesting for us to know about as far as to strategize. But Lily, before we start, maybe you can turn on your title slide and then let everybody know a bit about how you came into the business, and then start your presentation, please. I'm actually going to turn my video off as well, so you have all the bandwidth.
All right, that sounds great. So do you actually see my title slide now? Because I never know.
Yes, we do.
Okay, all right, great. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. So again, my name is Lily Harder. I am Senior Director of Marketing Strategy at Compare Media, which is a Mintel company. So background on myself, I have been with Mintel and Compare Media for nearing a dozen years now, which is still crazy to say. And my background really is financial services, to be honest. I really started in the financial services space, and I still primarily work within that industry. However, through my work with Compare Media, I really have built an entire career around marketing within financial services, but that has very naturally extended to really every industry, because that's what we do across Mintel. So my background is pretty varied, and I would say I sort of play in two different pools between the direct marketing, a lot of focus on print, direct mail, and digital, and then financial services as well. So I sort of have this dual track career going on right now. But as far as, who Mintel is and what it does and why we have all this information, Mintel itself is a global market research firm. So we are across the globe, over 20 different countries, and we offer a variety of products and services. Now, from the Mintel level, what we offer is insight into what consumers want and why. We are trying to give our clients that really deep level of information as to what consumers are doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, all of that. So these are the different products that we offer. The left two columns are Compare Media Direct and Compare Media Omni. So this is under that Mintel umbrella, and this is our multimedia monitoring platform. And this is where we get all that really great insight into not only what's happening in print, but across all marketing channels, because we are literally capturing all of the marketing campaigns and collateral, and especially on the direct mail side, we have a panel of consumers all across the US and Canada who are physically putting their mail into big envelopes and sending it to us every single week. And we go through that mail, it goes on our database, millions of campaigns. It goes in our database, we can capture it, you can see everything from the front of the envelope to the back and every insert in between. So that's where a lot of this insight is coming from. And then what I do in my role is taking all of that consumer insight that we have, the marketing data, the marketing creatives that we have, and putting it all together really into packaged presentations such as what I'm going to go through today. So that's a little bit about me. I'll go ahead and jump right in because we're in this very, very unusual state, and I know I don't even need to go into that more details because we all are living our own sense of crazy right now. But I thought this is so funny. This is from the Marketunist, and he is amazing. If you haven't seen some of his other work, his cartoons, and he's on the speaking circuit now, but and I've heard him speak, and he's amazing. But he has a series of cartoons, and this one I just think is so relevant and so obvious in a way, but really needs to be said at the same time. So maybe we had this mindset that digital transformation is years away, but it's not. And the acceleration we have seen in the last 4 months exceeds anything we could have expected within a 5 or 10-year timeframe. We have just zoomed forward, especially with respect to the need for digital and having all of those connected capabilities. And that goes without saying to marketing and to reaching your customers. So what I'm going to go through
Lily,
today in terms, oh yeah.
I'm sorry. I just want to mention that the printing industry has kind of adapted digital to mean digital printing. I just want to make sure everybody knows you're talking about digital marketing in this sense.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, yes, correct. When I say digital, I really think from an omni-channel lens of, are you utilizing print channels, but are you also using social media, online video, online display, things like that. So yes, technically when I say digital, that's what I mean. But, I know how digital printing has moved the direct mail channel in and of itself light years ahead of its time. So that's definitely an element that I think could apply to this as well. But that's a good distinction. Thank you. So I'm going to go through what we're seeing as far as consumers today, not only digital consumers today, but consumers in this COVID-19 environment, how marketers have been dipping their toes into the waters as far as marketing in a pandemic, and then a few thoughts to leave you with is sort of what I think is coming up next. So let's just look at the 2020 consumer. Not too surprising, I don't think, to anybody that we are a mobile-centric society right now. Everything is really revolving around the smartphone. That was happening even prior to COVID-19, increase in smartphone usage and just sheer number of hours a day on a smartphone. So in general, in-home data usage has significantly increased since COVID-19. Again, not surprising. We are in our homes, we're using Wi-Fi, all of that. So I think we're seeing stats like 38% increase in Wi-Fi usage. So we're still very connected. Interestingly, while we may have been consuming a lot of content on our phones prior to the pandemic, now that we're all home, we're probably doing a lot more of that consumption on computers or TVs. But that doesn't mean that mobile is playing any less of a role, because consumers are texting more, 37% more texting since COVID-19. Video calling is up 32%, social media use, all of that. So, we're spending a lot of time on our phones, which is why I say this, that mobile, and when I say digital marketing has to be a focus of an omni-channel marketing campaign. Again, one component, but it is an important one. And the reason
Really?
yeah.
Yesterday, I actually pulled some stats about this, and according to Mobify, 72% of all online shopping at home is done on a mobile device, not a computer.
I totally believe it. I think that's actually a great point, because, well, first of all, you have to assume a lot of the social media use is being done on a mobile device as well. And a lot of the social media is leading to the e-commerce. And so I do believe that, and even with, Amazon and all of that. So great stat, and I think very telling that even though we're in our homes, especially when you just think of shopping in the moment, you're more likely to be shopping in the moment while scrolling through your phone than take the time to say, oh, I need to order something. Let me go boot up the computer and sit and actually take the time to do that. It takes more time than pulling out your phone and taking a few clicks. So that's a great stat. But I tee it up that way. I tee this up in that just showing how important digital is and mobile is, because as marketers, we really need to be thinking, yes, mobile first, because that's where the consumer is right now, but not mobile only. And this is where I really try to make the case that omni-channel must include both the online and the offline channels, because there really is this, not just present demand, but a growing demand for offline communication. So 3/4 of consumers have said that they want more human interaction because technology is becoming so pervasive in their lives and almost disruptive. 64% are saying that they feel like they've lost touch with the human element of interface, with customers and with just other people in their lives. So having that one-on-one, that human connection, that is not only important, but it's becoming a increasingly important trend to consider, and that is where this print and the offline channels really can make an impact. So this is actually interesting data that I was excited to share. This comes from some reporting and survey work we did into health management trends, but I think in light of what's happening with COVID-19, it's so relevant to think about the consumer or your customer holistically, and that includes their mind, their mental well-being, their body, their physical well-being, and their wallet, their financial well-being. And we are seeing technology use linked to mental health disorders. And it's not going unnoticed. Young adults are especially attentive to their mental well-being, and they're acknowledging their concern more than adults are. So as you see on the left here, we asked consumers whether reducing technology is a goal or will be a goal of theirs, and definitely correlates with age. Younger consumers really aware of this, and interesting, because you think younger consumers are the more digitally connected and digital everything, but they're not, and that is a bit of a misconception. And in the reverse, just thinking about spending more time outdoors, I thought this was really interesting, that younger consumers are more likely to state that as a goal, getting back to nature. All of these things that this was published prior to COVID-19, all of this is just going to be accelerated with what's happening in the environment right now. Again, with the mental health thing, this is such a key component, and I'm seeing it play out in so many interesting ways with COVID-19 specific marketing. But stress, anxiety, one of my colleagues just posted a really great blog, which is available. And if you are in my LinkedIn and you look at my activity and what I recently liked, you'll see I liked it. I do need to share it. It's a blog on COVID-19, basically PTSD of COVID-19, and really looking into how not only things are impacting now, but the long-term effect that COVID-19 is going to have. And, life was already stressful before this, and especially for younger consumers. So we did some data specifically around marketing to Gen Z, and, they already were stressed, but the impact of this pandemic is just going to amplify that stress and the uncertainty that these teenagers and young adults are experiencing. We're seeing disruptions to high school and college, and just a bleak job market. And all of this is really what's going to define this generation and who they become as adult consumers. So we're just seeing sort of these feelings of anxiety and instability being exacerbated by what's going on right now. And these consumers will be drawn to brands that can offer them feelings of consistency and comfort. Even thinking about like heritage brands that maybe their parents are already using, think like Tide or Kraft, may start to see an increased interest from young consumers looking to just kind of hold on to some level of comfort. We're just seeing a constant strain day to day, mental, emotional, financial, individual concerns over exposure and lifestyle. So just looking at how worried people are, obviously there was a big spike in mid-March and April when shutdowns really started to go into effect. And this was pretty even keeled in terms of I'm worried that I'm going to get exposed, or I'm just worried that my life turned upside down and everything's different. So a lot of worries. We're starting to see that level off, but still quite a bit higher than what it was pre-pandemic. And then on the right here, one of my colleagues did this, and I thought this was just so brilliant, where she just typed into Google, "do I?" And this is the automated, and this is all based on Google search trends, but these are the top things that pop up as being the most frequently searched. So do I have coronavirus being number one, but concerns about, stimulus checks, unemployment, anxiety, et cetera, different terminology for COVID. So many concerns really, really causing a lot of stress. So back to, that idea that the physical and offline channels can offer somewhat more of a human connection, there really is that opportunity there. There's that opportunity, especially when it comes to deepening the customer relationship, communicating trust, communicating stability, communicating overall brand value. We're seeing majority of consumers in America say that they have a high interest in receiving mail. We're seeing similar stats even among young consumers. Again, another misconception, maybe that young people don't want mail. That's not true. The data doesn't show that. 65% say that mail is lifting their spirits, and more than half have said that they've tried a new business after receiving marketing mail. So many opportunities here. And just thinking about the role that direct mail will play in that omni-channel mix. Because again, what I always like to say when I talk about the omni-channel mix is you can't just take the same marketing message or the same campaign and carbon copy and paste from one channel to the next. It doesn't work like that, and you're not going to get the most value out of that. But when thinking of the unique characteristics that direct mail offer, it can really be a bridge between the physical space, offline and online. Some stats that I've gotten, I was on a panel with the CMO of USPS. So, she of course agrees with this, and the stats really tell the story that the combination of mail and digital work better together. So direct mail, when complemented with digital ads, yields a 28% higher conversion rate, and 40% of consumers report higher brand recall when receiving an email followed by a direct mail piece. So we can see that the blending of physical and digital just sees a higher average open rate and click-through rate than any other channel just by itself. And there's all these different ways to really make it work. So of course there's informed delivery, which if you're not familiar, but I'm sure most of you are, it's where you get the preview in your email of what's coming in your mailbox. So this is allowing marketers to connect the hard copy with the digital, and you can even link in. So the example here, it gives you the opportunity to link directly to the website. Informed delivery has over 26 million people signed up already, and it has a 64% average email open rate. So it's just another touch point for each campaign. Retargeting direct mail, we're seeing a lot of innovations in this space, a lot of unique targeting capabilities and personalization capabilities. And then of course, just digitally enhanced mail, the use of one of the brands calls it clickable paper. There's QR codes, there's augmented reality, all these other ways to really bring a physical piece of mail to life. So with that, I'm going to go into some of the specific marketing and what I've been seeing. When it comes to marketing in pandemic, you might think the rules go out the window, but that's not the case. In fact, a lot of the strategies I've seen are mirroring what was happening before, but just with a few tweaks and definitely a little bit more caution. There's been a very slow and steady approach to what we've been seeing in the mailbox recently. But these are sort of my 3 rules of marketing in dynamic times or marketing in a pandemic. Number 1 is interactions, not transactions. 2 is technology over time lags. And 3 is values versus value. And I'm not saying one is better than the other, but we're going to compare them. So let's go through and let's talk about interactions, not transactions. This is something I've talked about for a long time. I've always considered the concept of ROI, not just what's your return on your investment, but what's the return on your involvement with your customers, with your prospects? How can you make that interaction a little bit longer lasting? And so marketing today is really moving beyond just being transactional, make the sale, offer the discount, et cetera. And every channel is an opportunity to leave a real lasting impression, to really have an interaction that lingers a little bit longer. And we're seeing this happen definitely in the beginning as shelter-in-place orders went into effect mid-March. We saw marketers kind of scramble to pull back as quickly as they could. Some couldn't even pull their campaigns out of mailboxes as early as they probably would have liked. But there was a big push to email, we're here for you, we're all in this together, and that message got old pretty quickly. But then we started to see some more trickle into the direct mail space as marketers were able to get their message a little bit more consistent and in line with where they wanted to go with it. So a couple examples. This is from Humana. We're certainly seeing insurance in direct mail. Some industries have dropped more than others. Financial services, as I said, that's where my specialty is. Financial services was very much down. I would say for financial, it was a 67% decline in direct mail from year over year, from May 2019 to May 2020. But this is from Humana, and I just thought this was really interesting when thinking about the idea of interacting, where they're really trying to make a point to address that mental, emotional, and even the physical side of things. So it's very well laid out aesthetically. I have to give them props for that. But they're showing how they're meeting the physical needs, meeting the emotional needs, and meeting the social needs. So they have their message, and they know which concerns consumers are really grappling with today. Now, again, thinking about interactions, as things really started to come to a head in mid-March, many brands and marketers scrambled because even their employees were now virtual and working from home, and they had to adjust the whole concept of customer service and what that means. And I wanted to call out PNC because they were doing something interesting really in terms of bridging that digital divide. So especially with banks, the big emphasis was, okay, branches are closed, we got to get our customers onto their mobile banking, online banking, get them digitally connected as quickly as possible. And to be honest, there are quite a few holdouts when it comes to digital banking. But what PNC did is they featured through social media videos of real employees answering customer calls from their home offices. You can see their offices and their desks in the background, just showing the representatives how they are making it easy to still bank at home, and even giving tutorials as to how to log in. But what they did is they complemented this with a direct mail campaign. And again, remember, we said the combination of direct mail and digital leads to a higher lift. This was a complement direct mail postcard. This was sent to customers. And again, a lot of this that we're seeing in the mailbox is still customer engagement, customer communication. We're really not seeing the acquisition pick up again. That really has continued to stay low for the time being. But that being said, this is so customers just have a better idea again of how to get digitally connected. So it has all the information they could possibly need, trying to make it as simple as possible. The front of it being the most pertinent information. So you see on the top left there, if you're not enrolled, go to this website. Do you want email notifications? And just laying it out very simply what the various options are. So I thought this combined approach was unique. And again, this was one of the very first that we observed. So they got it together quickly. Finally, again, another bank example, but I thought this was just interesting from Wells Fargo, specifically sent to their existing mortgage customers. They had a call out not only in the front, you see on the top left here, that they have COVID-19 information with the specific website. But here on the right in the margin, there's a resource site. So we're here for you with mortgage updates and answers. So again, if you can get that link in there, whether it's a PURL or just a website or a QR code, the point is that you can sort of engage them with the campaign, but provide a link to give them that bridge and get the most real-time, up-to-date information. That is one challenge with direct mail, is the time lag, but it's easily overcome by some connection to something digital that provides that real-time information. And that's where this microsite led them to. And then of course, additional information to contact them. Technology over time lags. This is really similar. It's interacting. It's taking all of those elements I was just talking about, taking that bridge, but it's recognizing the fact that technology can be your friend. It's going to help again reduce those time lags that direct mail inherently has. And things are changing so fast. You don't put that pressure on yourself to get the most recent information into a direct mail campaign, because you risk it being outdated by the time it gets to your customers or your recipients. So in bridging that gap, we're seeing some unique uses of technology. I'm mostly going to talk about QR codes, but this certainly applies to augmented reality, anything NFC, all of that is really just going to be growing in popularity. I talk about QR codes a lot because I'm just seeing so many innovations recently in QR codes, not just in the marketing side, but across all industries, because they are a really convenient way to connect consumers, especially now that smartphones like the iPhone, iOS can read a QR code directly from the camera. So digital menus, are something that we're seeing in the restaurant space, where you can go to a restaurant and they just have a QR code on a printed sandwich board on the table, and then you can scan the QR code, pull up the menu, maybe even order directly from your phone, pay with a QR code, everything to avoid touching anything in the entire dining experience except your phone and a fork. We're seeing it in other areas, so even like grocery, and the example on the right actually is a winery in I want to say this is Argentina. Now I'm forgetting, but it's a winery, and this is just one-off example of where they put QR codes onto the labels of their wine bottles, and every batch has a different QR code, obviously. And so when you're in the liquor store and you're choosing, you could scan the QR code and get all the information you can need as to, where the grapes are from, how they're harvested, information about the brand, maybe the family that owns the brand. So much information just by scanning something in a grocery store and making that decision process a little bit easier. So many uses for QR codes. I could go on. But I think they're really having their moment, and especially in direct mail, we're seeing increased use of QR code, especially compared to last year. So all that being said, it's still a small share of mail that uses QR codes. I mean, we're still talking less than 10%, but it more than doubled from April of 2019 to April of 2020. So big increase that we saw in April. This is something I'm going to continue to monitor as I look through our direct mail, because I'm predicting it's going to continue to go up. But we're seeing it, and we're seeing marketers get a little bit more creative with how they're using QR codes. So just some examples of campaigns that I've picked up. So on the left here, this was a letter from Travelers Geico, so it's sort of the partnership of the two brands, to their customers. It really was a COVID-19 informational letter, like obviously we're here for you, or we show our sympathy. But what they were doing was making it easier for their customers to get the information they needed to either log into their account, or if they didn't have an account, to sign up. So it is a QR code. I give them props for having a clever design to it, making it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. I mean, let's all be honest, QR codes are pretty ugly, and it's amazing that the the look of them hasn't changed in over 2 decades, but we're starting to see some glimpses of creativity come in here. So I give them props for that. The one downside is that when you scan it for this particular Travelers one, it leads you to a login page. If you don't have your login information, that's way more clicks, and it's a lot of friction. And then signing up is also a little bit of friction. The Synchrony one in the middle, I love this one. I think this is such a cool example. This is coming from Synchrony Bank, talking about their CD or high yield savings account. And these are products that have variable rates. I mean, we all know that interest rates have been fluctuating quite a bit recently. And so it's very hard to have a direct mail campaign where that information might be outdated by the time it reaches someone's mailbox. So they use the QR code to, it says scan for current rate. So they don't have a rate stated anywhere in the campaign, although they talk about all the benefits of their accounts. But if you scan that QR code, it'll give you that day's rate offering. And I thought that was a very clever thing. I'm personally shocked that I had not seen that before. And I've, like I said, been monitoring financial services marketing for over a decade. So that was clever. And I think this could be applied to so many different industries, so many different product lines, just to be able to pull up the most recent information while the direct mail piece is still the call to action. On the right, I thought was also unique. This is from Wayfair. This is actually a credit card statement, so sent to a customer with their bill and all of that. And you can go to your online bill pay, you could write a paper check, you could pay this in any number of ways, but they did provide a QR code right next to the balance due. And I went, every time I get QR codes, I just scan them because I'm so curious. And I scanned this one, and it literally is a way to pay your account without even having to log in. So I give this one an A+ for the frictionless experience of being able to literally pay on your account in 2 clicks max. Now, obviously, you have the option, you can scan it, and if it's not you, or if it's not the right person, you can close it out, or you can say, this isn't me, but you're not giving up any personal information. So the security of it is still there. You're making a payment on that account, but you don't have to provide any information to prove that it's you. So I thought that was clever. Finally, again, why I'm so, I guess, bullish on QR codes is not only did PayPal update its mobile app for merchants and small business owners, but we actually just recently, this past week, Apple announced that it's developing its own QR code capability for Apple's mobile wallet. And I can go into more details about that. But the PayPal one was a really big move, because what PayPal is now allowing merchants and mom and pop shop owners, or anyone that sells something, to do is they can generate, print, and display their own QR code. So if someone's coming into your store for an in-person physical experience and they want to buy something, they don't have to pull out their wallet anymore. They don't have to pull out their code. They can see your QR code on your cash register or just on a sign in the front, and they pull up their phone and pay with that. And again, don't touch anything besides their phone and the product that they're buying. It does have a fee, so merchants will have to pay 1.9% plus 10 cents for every transaction, so it's not cheap, but it is free through the end of July. So PayPal launched it with that free offer. Okay, finally, values versus value. So let's be honest, we are in a recession. Value is very important to consumers. It always has been, but even more so, consumers are going to be very price conscious as we work through the recovery of this recession. However, what's becoming equally important right now is a brand's value. That's their vision, their mission, what it is that drives them. It's really the persona and identity that brands are it's not only beneficial for a brand to have, but I think nowadays it's really table stakes. Brands have to have this identity. We're seeing this with a lot of direct-to-consumer brands, and e-commerce brands are sort of building their own unique identity. So, as loyalty is up for grabs, having that established set of values is going to be increasingly important, and being able to communicate those values very clearly in your marketing is going to be absolutely essential as a key point of differentiation. So this goes beyond just COVID-19. The sort of state of direct mail, if you will, which is what I'm presenting on today. It's changing because there's so much going on in 2020. COVID-19 is one of the biggest things, but there is a lot of social unrest. There's a lot of concern about what's happening from a social perspective. And this is contributing to a very wide divide among Americans. So we were just my team was looking at just mentions across social media for terms like civil rights, human rights, social justice. You can see these are all really top of our minds right now. And consumers expect their brands to have a say, to be honest. We're seeing more brands take a stance like Nike has done, and that's going to become more of an expectation for brands to not only take a stand, but show how they're giving back, show how they are putting their money where their mouth is. So that expectation is there. I wanted to show some campaigns that I picked up that are doing this, some in more subtle ways than others. But again, given that direct mail volumes are still pretty low right now, it is interesting to see brands like Wayfair still active in direct mail. So not only is Wayfair pretty advanced with their marketing, because they do have some unique digital capabilities where they will send postcards with QR codes that link to their app, and with their very innovative app, you can actually take pictures of your room and use augmented reality to put Wayfair items into your room just to see how it would look. So their visualizer tool is really, really clever. And they talk about that a lot in their marketing. But they've also made a point to say that they're helping to support COVID-19 relief, because we're all in this together. So I give them props for showing some support. I will say a little bit of criticism about this piece is that they don't really say how they're giving support. Just saying they're supporting COVID-19 relief is pretty vague. And I'll also say I'm really not a fan of the "we're all in this together" messaging anymore. I like to use the analogy that I've been seeing circulating for a while now, which is, everyone keeps saying we're all in the same boat, but that's not true. We're all riding out the same storm, but we are all in very different boats right now. And you can't assume that you are in the same boat as anybody else, or that your customers are all in the same boat. So take a step back. We're all in the same storm, but everyone's experiences and the way they are reacting to that storm are going to be very different. So just keep that in mind when communicating. But I give them props for showing some support. And again, I was looking for campaigns, and there aren't a lot out there, but there needs to be. DSW is a major shoe warehouse retailer. It's kind of like Payless shoe stores, maybe a step up, if you will, but they're all over the Midwest where I am. And I thought this was unique. So they are sending these out, I'm guessing, to their VIP Perks members. So this must be a membership program that they have, and those who are on the mailing list receive this campaign. So not only are they showcasing store safety, see in the top right here, everyone's wearing their masks and they're socially distanced, and they're giving a visual of what your experience in the store will be like. Your store is open, we're together every step of the way. Here's all the things that they're doing to keep the store clean clean and keep you safe. So great, props on that. On the very left here, though, I also thought this was unique that obviously these members will earn points. It's a loyalty program, and that you can get 50 points when you donate new or gently worn shoes. So another way to kind of show that they're giving back and show that they're supporting the community. And then the final example here, this is from USAA. You know, with financial services, it's going to be a little bit more cut and dry and not as, you know, flowery and aesthetically fun, but they are supporting the community and their members. And that's something that USAA is really good about communicating. I will say, as far as brands go who have a very unique and strong persona and mission-driven organization, USAA really stands out as being one of those organizations that they are really there for the support of their members who are members of the military. And so they talked here about how they're going beyond just membership to the community, and how they're supporting local nonprofits, especially members in the National Guard and Reserves, those on active duty, et cetera. So they're specifically calling out that they've donated more than $4 million to nonprofits to provide relief to military families. Again, supporting their mission. They could have said they were giving relief to any number of COVID-related causes, but they specifically made it clear that it was about their military families affected by the pandemic. So I wanted to call that out because it's about sticking to your core mission. So just thinking about what's next, you know, taking everything that I've talked about, interactions, not transactions, we're going to start to see a wave of creativity and innovation as brands look how to what I call surprise and delight. You know, those extra little bits, whether it's like a little bit more of an incentive or discount, or actually a physical gift or fun package that you can send. We're going to see new creative ways to engage at just much deeper levels, deeper targeting, personalization, attribution, all of that, especially with the digital print capabilities. That's where we're going to see so much more innovation in how brands are utilizing all the data that they already have on their customers and really putting it into use in terms of personalization. Again, thinking about all those different boats that your customers are in, targeting them based on those different boats, and at the same time keeping in mind the consistency among it is the storm that we're all in. Innovative relationship models and memberships. This, I think, is going to continue to grow. We saw such a huge surge in demand for subscription services. You know, we've got the Dollar Shave Clubs and the Stitch Fixes and all of that. Memberships are so big right now. So finding ways to sort of enhance that model, because memberships are the best way to encourage loyalty. When you feel like you're a member, you feel like you're part of something that's uniquely specific to you and customizable to you. So those models are going to continue to evolve as brands find more creative ways to deepen that relationship. So I'm going to pause there. This is my information, by the way, if anyone does want to get in touch, and I'm on LinkedIn. But I appreciate the time and would love to open it up.
Amazing. Absolutely incredibly amazing presentation. I actually have some notes why people hopefully gather their thoughts to ask Lily some questions. Thank you for turning off your screen share. First of all, when you said involvement versus investment, I really like that, but I thought maybe we should talk about that for a moment. Now, do you mean like getting involved in this? So how's the family doing? Like that kind of stuff? Or what is the involvement versus investment, like more blown out, let's say?
Well, I see it as being, you know, we always have to look at our return on investment. That's, you know, that's never going to go away. Everyone needs to keep that in their periphery. You know, everyone needs to have that as a goal. However, I say ROI, return on involvement, as being a core component of marketing, because when you think about the dwindling attention span that today's consumer has, the longer you can get them to engage with any marketing, especially a direct mail campaign, the higher the involvement. I call that involvement. So if they're taking your postcard, looking at it and just putting it to the side, I mean, that's still a win because it's not the trash, but that's one thing. But if they're holding it and then grabbing their phone and then using that to scan the piece, or I've seen things like Casper Mattresses has been sending direct, and this is a DTC company, they've been sending direct mail campaigns that have crossword puzzles on them, you know, where it actually is kind of a fun, and it's not a complicated one, you know, it's going to take you less than 4 minutes to do, but think about 4 minutes with a campaign is just exponentially higher than you can ever expect someone to be involved in a piece of marketing. So that's what I mean by involvement.
Okay, I was looking at it from a sales perspective, so now I understand what you mean by a marketing perspective. Okay, you mentioned QR codes and all of that kind of a digital bridge, let's say. And I just wanted to remind people that the United States Post Office has postal discounts if you utilize technology such as
Hmm.
QR codes. They also have a mobile shopping promotion for the holidays, but you have to register for it pretty soon. So just go to the USPS site and work that out. Or in the Fierce Fabulous Friday playlist libraries, we have a presentation from Christine Erna about that mentions that too. Um, the other thing I wanted to ask, and then I'm going to go to the questions in the chat, is that um, signals people out in the world should look for as far as when it might be new acquisition time. I know you and I have spoken extensively that most of what we see in mailboxes is because it's customer loyalty, customer retention is not new business acquisition. Is Will there be some sign for people to look at? I know I watch the commercials, but what are your thoughts?
Well, so I will say in digital and social, the time is now. I mean, people are getting back. Consumers are shopping again. I think if you go too long with total brand silence, it's problematic. You don't want to leave large gaps in any kind of engagement or brand awareness. Again, the biggest issue with selling in direct mail is that time lag. And we did see mailers come in late March, talking about cruises and going, this vacation and that vacation. And that was, obviously not well received. So that was, I think, why we saw a big lag. You know, I I say the time is now if the message is appropriate and a message that can withstand the test of time. Consumers are itching to get back, and just because they're not ready to go take a cruise again doesn't mean they're not buying things. I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, yeah, yeah, it does. I mean, in some ways, I'm kind of waiting for people to stop with the "we're all in this together," and
Yes.
once that has gone away, then it's the time that it's okay to kind of interact with people again as we used to. But for me right now, I say if you think it's appropriate, if you got it in your hand, like if I got something from a Rolex watch now, I would look at it and go, really,
Yeah.
Rolex? Like, come on, you know.
Yep.
But so that's kind of my test of tolerance is myself. Does anybody have any questions for Lily or wants to talk? It was interesting. Like, as the webinar was going along, more people started coming in. So I'm assuming people told their
Oh, good.
friends, get in here.
Good.
Um,
This is Colleen Brummer, and we're client and work with Claire Schultz. And Lily, this was absolutely fabulous. I couldn't take notes fast enough, and I was like, oh, I have to share this with so and so and so and so on my team. So I was just, thank you so much.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Great presentation. I also wanted to mention I'm research and insights director at my company. And I've seen a lot of, consumer sentiment research out there. And I keep seeing things that say, 9 out of 10 consumers expect brands to go back to normal. And there are mashups out there too of this whole we're in this together. If you haven't seen some of them, you can go on YouTube or whatever. Like there was some funny things like from Ryan Reynolds from Mint Mobile,
Yeah.
and doing like these low production, quality videos and everything. But I mean, there's been a lot of backlash. I mean, Deborah, to your point, people we're all in this together, and I love the boat analogy because I've seen that one too. Because we're in the same storm, we're not really in the same boat, and people expect more and more normalcy, but yeah, people aren't going to buy Rolex watches and things like that. And people are putting off, I think, purchases of big items, but you can't go dark. I mean, people need to continue to be out there, I think, in marketing. So anyway, I know I kind of went all over the place, but I just wanted to say thank you. It was great.
Well, thank you, Colleen. Yeah, and those are really great comments. I mean, it is true. I would say, you know, you can look at economic indicators like consumer confidence and even the unemployment rate as far as whether consumers are ready to buy again. But you have to think about those different boats, and the boat with people that lost their jobs, they don't want to be sold to right now. And I know it's hard to know whether that's the case, but then there's also the boat of the people who have been lucky enough to work through this whole thing. They are saving gobs of money because they're not paying for childcare or big vacations or other things, dining out all the time, and so they have money kind of burning a hole in their pocket. And those are two very different boats. And so the Rolex campaign probably would not be well received by most, but if they know their audience and they know their customers who have purchased from them before, they might have money ready to spend on a new one. So it's a tough call, but I think you as brands have so much information on your customers, and it's about crafting a message that recognizes the storm and also thinks about those elements of normalcy that can remain. Someone and I know I'm going on a tangent now, but someone was asking me recently about what's happening with the end of the year, and I was trying to think towards the holidays.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you brought that up.
Yeah. Well, and someone asked me, a client asked me this yesterday, and it kind of got me thinking. And obviously, we have to start thinking about our holiday campaigns, and no one knows what those holidays are going to look like. Actually, Deborah, you also asked me the same day about trick-or-treating and will I let my kids trick-or-treat? And I've been thinking about that. And I said, you know what?
I said, no, will you take candy from people?
Well, would I let them actually be handed a piece of candy? And I think about it more and more. And I said, you know what? I don't know. But what I do know is there will be candy. That's not going to go away. I'm probably going to buy it myself and give it to the kids, or find some creative way to make it a fun holiday. But there will be costumes, there will be candy, and those are the elements that will remain the same, albeit some other elements will be variable. So that's something we have to consider.
I apologize to your children as they grow up, and they can blame me for taking Halloween away from them.
All right, I'll give them your number.
I'm a holiday killer for children. I've done it before. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Sandy Hubbard, nothing. Kelly, nothing.
Question.
Deborah, it's Colleen again. I did have another comment.
Okay, but Colleen, we really can't hear you. You're going to have to move closer to your microphone.
Thank you.
And then Shirley will get you right after.
I was away from my my computer. I apologize for that. I didn't even think about how far away I was. I was on a marketing roundtable call yesterday with some people, and one of the and I love this because we're all women here. I don't know how many of you are moms. Obviously, Lily, you are. But this guy, he's a retailer, and he's New Balance. He's got shoe stores down in the southeast part of the country, and he's trying to figure out, what to do with his back to school marketing even, and somebody said, well, if you've got little ones, they're going to buy, they need shoes anyway, regardless of if they're physically going back to school. But we were all women except for him on that call. It was a smaller call, but the question came up, how are people feeling about, in the near term, sending kids back to school, and what do you think if you're seeing are you guys seeing back to school marketing yet in anything? I don't know, Lily, who follows like retail at your place, but are you guys starting to see that? I'm just curious to know.
I mean,
I've seen commercials for it.
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
For like school supplies, yes. Unfortunately, I am seeing like Walmart type commercials on
Yeah.
Lily?
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I think that was the Walmart one I saw. I definitely saw one which was, it was really clever because it was clearly back to school and it was, it's kind of following this family and little girl trying to get her school supplies ready, but she never left the house. So they were doing everything by getting their supplies, either ordering online through Walmart, whatever it was. And they were vague enough that those could have been supplies for at-home learning, for distance learning, because kids are going to need technology. Kids are going to still need writing implements and paper and crayons and glue. And I mean, yeah, I have a box of the pre-ordered school supplies sitting downstairs in my front hall right now because, I don't know if they're going to be in school or not, but it doesn't matter because I know we're going to need all those materials. So it's not, I have not seen the volume. I haven't looked specifically at how much back to school marketing is going out, but it is, especially from the big retailers, it's a new message. It's a new vibe.
Yeah, they have to get it across without showing kids in school and things like that. It's a very tricky situation. It's very, very at the moment marketing, which is not how, by the way, how the advertising agencies like to function. Shirley, you want to unmute yourself and come back?
Hi there. Hi, Kelly. It's a great presentation.
You
I
could
just
turn on
actually
your
finished.
video. Say hello to everybody.
Oh, okay. Um, Hi. I just
Hey.
did a presentation, yeah, on a Wednesday on print, and you touched on a lot of really great points, and some that actually didn't even think about. But anyways, question for you. Your company seems very large. Are you guys doing any like variable data print where you're actually really doing the customized printing, and then you're able to have the QR code go to that specific person once you dial in and get data from that Pearl website or anything like? Are you doing anything that advanced so that the messaging is specific to that particular consumer, so you're not alienating people? Are you seeing more of that? And if you are, what are you doing to help us understand what's available to us?
So I'll just answer quickly as far as your first point. So we actually don't do that. We're not a print house. We are a research firm. So we act more as an agency to print houses, to marketers, providing the information and competitive intelligence. So we ourselves don't do any of that printing. And I'm sure Deborah has plenty of contacts that do and knows that space.
Yeah.
But I will say just quickly, as far as what I do see in terms of variable print, not the QR specifically, but I know there is a lot of examples even using geolocation. So specific people receive their own specific map to the closest location. And so that map is very specific to their address. That's based on their information. But I'll let Deborah weigh in on that print
Well,
side.
you also did mention pearls before,
Yes,
personalized URLs. So
right.
they are, to your point, Shirley, there is a way to get somebody to a specific place only for them, or a group of people to a customized place. If you want to put people from the Southeast in this place and people from the Northeast in this place, because to Lily's point, we're on the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. So
Right.
maybe somebody needs to have a certain message. So yeah, I mean, it comes down to all of that. And there are companies that certainly can help set up massive pearls. I'm sorry. I was just reading the chat to see if someone was giving
And
a,
Well,
great for
recommendation.
attribution.
Yeah.
I just
Um,
would like, I'd like to see if there is, I think that's a huge opportunity for us printing girls to really, hone in on that type of technology and hone in on the smart code, hone in on the NFC chips and do direct mail that way, and not just with QR codes, because I think consumers are really starting to get fussy, and they want to be talked to on a personal level rather than just throw the spaghetti on the wall type of thing.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, thinking about those examples I was showing, like from DSW, if you're a DSW loyalty member, they know what shoes you bought. They
Hmm.
know what they look like. They know what size you are. They know if you're buying kids' shoes. They know if you're buying men's shoes. you know, that's information that should be used. You know, those are ways to segment your customer base and make the imagery reflect differently, make even the message reflect differently. So I'm all for that, and I think brands are not utilizing the data that they have available as well as they could be.
I mean, totally. With the IP address, once you log in there, you could literally get a personalized message to you. We could say, "Hey, Deborah, welcome to your landing page." It's just how much the problem is that these things are all great, but they all cost money, and that's kind of where the catch-22 is here, because nobody kind of wants, people want to make the investment in connecting with their customers. I think Lily and I are agreement in that that's the most important thing right now: customer retention, customer loyalty. They cannot go on new business acquisition trips. So with that, how much money are they going to spend on people who are already kind of in their ecosystem, you know? And then maybe when we get to the other point in it, there's a way to do it. But I can tell you, talking to a lot of the advertising agency people, they kind of feel like these tools are gimmicks as opposed to real opportunities for valuable and long-term return on investment. So that is where a good marketing person or a salesperson from your team who can communicate the value beyond just, look, you can get to a website from that. Isn't that cool? And now there's a little umbrella in my QR code. Isn't that cool? By the way, that's been going on for a long time. There's actually an online generator that can stick your logo in it. But there's inherent problems with QR codes. The first being that some people still don't know what they are, and how much you have to leave some sort of, or should leave some sort of space on your marketing for, hey, take your phone and scan this thing and give people instructions. You cannot assume. As you go further down NFC, which is invisible, augmented reality is invisible, you know, what is the play there? Is an app better to really connect somebody to your brand? Or is it, I mean, I kind of think of a QR code more as a one and done. Although I will give my genius idea out, because you sparked it, Lily, which was that I love your idea of what I'm now going to call the evergreen QR code. Because as long as you have the capability of changing where the information on that page that you scan to, think about my apartment complex. They can send me a refrigerator magnet with a QR code on it. And if I want to know if the pool's open, I can just scan that thing and it gives me the latest information on my complex or my school district or my newspaper delivery service or my car wash or my hair salon if they've changed the hours. So what a fantastic way to utilize that technology and literally remain sticky on someone's refrigerator. So I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, and that's, I mean, it's sort of like the Zoom. I mean, we all have our own, you can have your own Zoom link and it's always yours, but yeah, evergreen. I love that.
Excellent. Anybody have anything else? Otherwise, Lily, they did ask if you were sharing your slide presentation, but I said I wasn't aware, but there was a replay and they could watch it and write down information. I don't think your slide share. I'm not either. So
no,
that's
I'm not, I can't share out this slide, but yeah, catch the replay. I mean, I think that's great. I hope the presentation lives on, and I'll be sure to post it on my LinkedIn too.
Yeah, and I just told everyone to take screenshots. That's what I do.
All good. Me too.
Okay, well, if nobody has anything else, Lily, I just want to thank you so much again for your time. I'm very lucky. I just keep writing little emails. I'm like, you want to present? You want to do something? You want to do a podcast? Want to do it? And she just keeps saying yes, yes, yes. So
I'm not flying anywhere anymore. I'm home.
Well, I'm very happy that you are, because I plan on using you until you're like, nope, I'm not even going to answer her email anymore. But I will be posting this replay at girlswhoprint.net so everybody can see it. Please connect with Lily Harder, 1L, at on LinkedIn. And Compare Media, I mean, I know you mentioned it before, but you can work with them to get research, to find out what's going on. How does that happen? Just talk to
Yeah,
you,
I
Lily,
would
and
say the best way is to reach out to me. Feel free to check out our website. Again, you can find it through my LinkedIn, or if you want to just reach out to me. But yeah, we have so many different tiers of service that we can offer. And really, I mean, the database is so fantastic where you can, it's almost like a Pinterest board of campaigns. And you can see what everyone is doing, what they're sending, what it looks like, scan the pieces, all of that. So very cool resource. If you want to learn more, reach out and I'll put you in touch with the right people.
and is it comparemedia.com?
Yes, correct. It's
Okay.
spelled, yes, it's COMPERE media.
And I'll put that information in the replay blurb too. But again, just thank you so much for your time. Thanks everybody for your time, and we'll see you next week at Fierce Fabulous Fridays. Empower, long, and prosper, everybody.